Amelia Carter grew up in a small town in rural Iowa, surrounded by acres of cornfields and the gentle hum of nature. Her family had lived on the same piece of land for 3 generations, working tirelessly to make ends meet. The Carters weren't wealthy, but they were rich in love, hard work, and determination. Every morning, Amelia woke up before sunrise to help her parents with the chores. She fed the chickens, milked the cows, and tended to the crops alongside her father, while her mother prepared breakfast in their modest farmhouse kitchen. Despite their simple life, Amelia's parents always encouraged her to dream big. They often told her that education was the key to opening doors she couldn't even imagine yet. "You don't have to stay here forever," her mother would say, brushing flour off her hands as they sat together at the wooden table. "This farm has given us everything we need, but you can go farther if you want." And Amelia wanted to go farther. From a young age, she showed a natural curiosity about the world beyond the fields. She loved reading books borrowed from the tiny local library, devouring stories about faraway cities, ambitious people, and exciting careers. While other kids played outside, Amelia spent hours poring over pages, imagining herself stepping into those worlds one day. But unlike most dreams, hers came with a catch: money. College seemed like an impossible goal for someone whose family struggled just to keep the farm running. Still, Amelia refused to let doubt cloud her vision. At school, she worked harder than anyone else, determined to earn top grades. Her teachers noticed her dedication and began encouraging her to apply for scholarships. "You've got potential, Amelia," Mrs. Peterson, her high school economics teacher, once said. "You could do anything you set your mind to." Those words stayed with her, fueling her resolve. When graduation day finally arrived, Amelia stood proudly on stage, clutching her diploma. She had been awarded a full scholarship to a prestigious university in Chicago, a place so different from her quiet little town that it might as well have been another planet. As she packed her bags, her parents hugged her tightly, tears streaming down their faces. "We're so proud of you," her father whispered. "Make us proud out there." Moving to Chicago was overwhelming. For the first time in her life, Amelia found herself surrounded by students who wore designer clothes, drove expensive cars, and spoke confidently about internships at Fortune 500 companies. She felt out of place, dressed in hand-me-downs, and struggling to understand references to things she'd never experienced. But instead of letting insecurity take over, Amelia reminded herself why she was there. This wasn't about fitting in. It was about learning, growing, and creating opportunities for herself and her family. Her classes were challenging, especially since she had to balance studying with part-time jobs to cover living expenses. Late nights became her norm, hunched over textbooks under the dim light of her dorm room lamp. Some days, exhaustion weighed heavily on her shoulders, but she pushed through, driven by the memory of her parents' sacrifices. When classmates complained about trivial matters like slow Wi-Fi or bad cafeteria food, Amelia kept silent, knowing how lucky she was just to be there. During her junior year, Amelia discovered her passion for economics. Numbers fascinated her, not because they were abstract or complicated, but because they told stories. Stories about businesses thriving or failing, families prospering or struggling, communities rising or falling apart. She realized that what she had learned on the farm, how to manage resources wisely, how to adapt when things went wrong, was directly applicable to the principles of finance and business. Suddenly, everything clicked. By the time she graduated, Amelia had not only earned top marks but also built a reputation among professors and peers as someone who approached problems with creativity and resilience. Her thesis on sustainable agricultural practices caught the attention of several faculty members who urged her to pursue a career in corporate finance. "You have a unique perspective," one professor told her. "Don't lose sight of where you came from, it will set you apart." Armed with her diploma and a carefully crafted resume, Amelia began applying for jobs. One opportunity stood out: an entry-level position at McKinsey & Associates, a leading financial firm known for its innovative strategies and competitive environment. It was a long shot, but Amelia decided to give it her best shot. After all, she had come this far against all odds. Why stop now? The interview process required multiple rounds, starting with a phone screening followed by an in-person meeting at the company's headquarters. Amelia prepared meticulously, researching every detail about Mackenzie and Associates and practicing answers to potential questions. On the morning of the interview, she dressed in her finest outfit, a navy blue suit jacket and skirt that her mother had lovingly altered to fit perfectly. Looking at her reflection in the mirror, she took a deep breath and reminded herself of the journey that had brought her here. As she stepped into the gleaming skyscraper that housed Mackenzie and Associates, Amelia couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and nervousness. The lobby buzzed with activity, filled with sharply dressed professionals moving with purpose. She checked in at the reception desk and waited anxiously, clutching her folder of documents. Around her, other candidates chatted casually, exchanging confident smiles and polished introductions. Amelia listened quietly, feeling more out of place than ever. When her name was called, she followed the receptionist to a conference room where 3 executives sat waiting. Their sharp suits and stern expressions intimidated her, but she forced herself to smile and shake hands firmly. The interview started smoothly enough, with questions about her academic background and interests. But when Amelia mentioned her upbringing on a farm and how it shaped her approach to problem-solving, the atmosphere shifted. One executive, a middle-aged man named Ryan, raised an eyebrow skeptically. "So let me get this straight," he said, leaning back in his chair. "You think managing a farm qualifies you to work in corporate finance?" His tone dripped with sarcasm, and the woman sitting next to him stifled a laugh. Amelia felt her face flush, but she didn't falter. Taking a moment to compose herself, she explained how resource management, budgeting, and strategic planning were integral parts of running a successful farm. "I may not come from a traditional background," she concluded, "but I believe my experiences have equipped me with skills that are highly transferable and valuable to any organization." The panel exchanged glances, some looking impressed while others remained unconvinced. As the interview wrapped up, Amelia thanked them politely and left the room, unsure of how it had gone. Walking back to the elevator, she replayed the conversation, in her head wondering if she had done enough to prove herself. Little did she know this was only the beginning of a story that would change her life, and the lives of many others, forever. After leaving the Mackenzie and Associates building, Amelia tried to shake off the uneasy feeling that lingered from her interview. She replayed the mocking comments in her mind, cringing at how Ryan had dismissed her farming background as irrelevant. Still, she reminded herself that she had answered every question honestly and with confidence. Whether or not they offered her the job, she knew she had done her best. The next few days passed slowly for Amelia. She spent her time preparing for other interviews and continuing her job search, though none of the opportunities excited her as much as Mackenzie and Associates did. Despite the sting of being ridiculed, there was something about the company that felt right, something that made her believe she could truly make a difference there. But deep down, she doubted they would call her back. After all, why would a top-tier financial firm choose someone like her over candidates with more polished backgrounds? 2 weeks later, just as Amelia was starting to lose hope, an email appeared in her inbox. The subject line read, "Follow-up meeting, Mackenzie and Associates." Her heart skipped a beat as she opened it. The message was brief but clear. They wanted to see her again. Confused yet intrigued, Amelia replied immediately to confirm her attendance. On the day of the meeting, she dressed carefully, choosing the same navy blue suit she had worn to her first interview. This time, however, she added a touch of confidence to her stride as she entered the building. The lobby still buzzed with activity, but instead of waiting in the general area, she was escorted directly to a private office on the executive floor. Inside, she found herself face-to-face with Benjamin Hayes, the CEO of Mackenzie and Associates. He was a tall man with graying hair and a warm smile that instantly put her at ease. Unlike the panel of executives she had met before, Benjamin exuded kindness and sincerity. He gestured for her to sit and began speaking in a calm, steady voice. "Amelia," he started, "I want to apologize for how you were treated during your initial interview. That is not the kind of environment we strive to create here at Mackenzie. And Associates. His words caught her off guard. She hadn't expected an apology, let alone one from the CEO himself. Before she could respond, he continued. You see, I grew up on a farm too, he explained, leaning forward slightly. My family struggled for years before we managed to turn things around. Farming taught me lessons no classroom ever could. Lessons about hard work, resourcefulness, and resilience. When I read your resume and heard about your background, I saw a reflection of my younger self. Amelia listened intently, her earlier doubts beginning to fade. For the first time since arriving in Chicago, she felt truly seen and understood. Benjamin went on to explain that he had personally reviewed her application and performance during the interview process. He admired her ability to connect her farming experience to business principles and believed she had the potential to bring fresh perspectives to the company. I'd like to offer you a position here, he said finally, his eyes locking onto hers. Not because I feel sorry for you, but because I think you're exactly the kind of person we need. Someone who understands grit, innovation, and the value of hard-earned success. Amelia's heart raced. She had dreamed of hearing these words, but now that they were real, she struggled to process them. Thank you, she managed to say, her voice trembling slightly. I won't let you down. Her first days at Mackenzie & Associates were a whirlwind of new experiences. As an associate analyst, she was assigned to a team tasked with reviewing financial data and proposing cost-saving measures for various projects. At first, many of her colleagues treated her with skepticism, assuming she wouldn't last long in such a competitive environment. Ryan, the same executive who had mocked her during her interview, often shot her ideas down without giving them a second thought. But Amelia refused to be discouraged. Drawing on her experience managing her family's farm, she approached each task with practicality and creativity. One day, while analyzing a report on operational expenses, she noticed a pattern of inefficiency in the way certain resources were allocated. Instead of ignoring it, she proposed a solution inspired by techniques her father used to maximize crop yields with limited water supply. Her suggestion not only reduced costs, but also improved overall productivity, earning praise from her supervisor. Word of her success spread quickly, and soon even those who had doubted her began to take notice. Patricia, the woman who had laughed during her interview, pulled her aside one afternoon. I have to admit, Patricia said reluctantly, you've proven me wrong. You know what you're doing, and I respect that. As months turned into years, Amelia continued to rise through the ranks. Her unique perspective and unwavering determination set her apart from her peers. She wasn't afraid to challenge conventional methods or propose bold ideas, even when others hesitated. Her superiors recognized her leadership potential and gave her increasingly important responsibilities. One pivotal moment came when the company launched a new initiative aimed at revitalizing struggling rural communities. Many executives viewed it as a risky move, fearing it might not yield significant returns. But Amelia saw an opportunity to combine her passion for helping underserved areas with the company's goals. She spearheaded the project, traveling to small towns across the Midwest to meet with local farmers and business owners. Listening to their stories and understanding their challenges, she developed strategies tailored to their needs. The initiative proved to be a resounding success, generating substantial profits while improving the lives of countless families. News outlets hailed Mackenzie & Associates as a trailblazer in corporate social responsibility, and Amelia became the face of the campaign. During press conferences and interviews, she spoke passionately about the importance of investing in rural America. These communities are the backbone of our nation, she declared. They deserve support, not neglect. Her efforts earned her widespread recognition within the company and beyond. Colleagues who once underestimated her now sought her advice and guidance. Even Ryan, who had once mocked her farming background, approached her with genuine admiration. You've changed the way I think, he admitted during a team meeting. I'm glad I was wrong about you. Despite her growing influence, Amelia remained humble and grounded. She never forgot where she came from or the values instilled in her by her parents. On weekends, she often returned to Iowa to visit her family, rolling up her sleeves to help with chores and savoring home-cooked meals around the kitchen table. Her parents beamed with pride whenever they talked about her accomplishments, though they reminded her to stay true to herself. "Don't let this city change you," her father would say. "You're still our girl, no matter how fancy your title gets." Amelia carried those words with her everywhere she went, using them as a compass to guide her decisions. She knew the success wasn't just about climbing the corporate ladder. It was about making a meaningful impact and staying connected to the people and places that shaped her. And as she looked ahead to the future, she couldn't help but feel grateful for the journey that had brought her here. Little did she know her story was far from over. In fact, it was only just beginning. Amelia's success at McKenzie & Associates continued to grow, and with it came new challenges. As she took on more responsibilities, she found herself working longer hours and facing tougher decisions. Yet, no matter how demanding her role became, she never lost sight of the values that had brought her this far. Her ability to stay calm under pressure and solve problems creatively earned her respect not only from her colleagues, but also from clients who relied on the firm's expertise. One day, Benjamin Hayes called Amelia into his office for a private meeting. By now, their relationship had evolved into one of mutual admiration and trust. Benjamin often sought her input on major projects, valuing her fresh perspective and practical approach. When she entered the room, he greeted her warmly and motioned for her to sit down. "There's something I need to discuss with you," Benjamin began, his tone serious yet kind. "As you know, I've been considering retirement for some time now. Running this company has been my life's work, but I believe it's time to pass the torch." He paused, studying her expression carefully before continuing. "After much thought, and after watching your incredible growth, I've decided that you are the right person to lead McKenzie & Associates into the future." Amelia froze, unsure if she had heard him correctly. Lead the company? Her? The idea seemed almost too big to comprehend. For a moment, she struggled to find words. "Benjamin," she finally said, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside her. "I'm honored beyond measure. But are you sure about this? There are so many talented people here, people who might be better suited for such a huge responsibility." Benjamin smiled gently, shaking his head. "I've watched you transform this company, Amelia. You've taken risks, challenged norms, and inspired others to do the same. More importantly, you've stayed true to yourself while doing it. That's rare in this industry. Trust me when I say there's no one else I'd rather hand the reins to." Overwhelmed but determined, Amelia accepted the offer. In the weeks that followed, Benjamin worked closely with her to ensure a smooth transition. He introduced her to key stakeholders, shared insights into the company's operations, and offered advice on leadership. "Remember," he told her, during one of their sessions, "being a leader isn't about having all the answers. It's about asking the right questions and empowering others to find solutions." When the announcement was made public, the reaction was mixed. Some employees were thrilled, having witnessed Amelia's rise firsthand. Others, however, expressed skepticism. How could someone from such humble beginnings possibly manage a company of McKenzie & Associates' stature? Whispers of doubt echoed through the hallways, and Amelia couldn't help but feel the weight of expectation pressing down on her. But instead of letting negativity distract her, Amelia focused on proving herself. Once again, she knew that action spoke louder than words, and she was ready to show everyone what she was capable of. On her first day as chairwoman, she held a company-wide meeting to outline her vision for the future. Standing at the front of the room, she looked out at the sea of faces, some supportive, some uncertain, and took a deep breath. "I won't pretend this is going to be easy," she began, her voice clear and confident. "We're living in a world that's changing faster than ever before. To stay ahead, we need to adapt, innovate, and think differently. But I promise you this: I will lead with integrity, transparency, and humility. Together, we can build a company that doesn't just chase profits but makes a real difference in people's lives." Her speech resonated with many, sparking a renewed sense of purpose within the organization. Over the next few months, Amelia implemented changes designed to foster collaboration and inclusivity. She encouraged open communication between departments, created mentorship programs for young professionals, and prioritized initiatives that supported underserved communities. Slowly but surely, even her harshest critics began to see the positive impact of her leadership. One of her most significant achievements came when she launched a groundbreaking partnership with rural farmers across the Midwest. The program provided them with access to advanced technology and financial resources, enabling them to increase productivity and compete in global markets. It wasn't just good business, it was personal. Every time Amelia visited a farm or spoke with a farmer, she saw reflections of her own family's struggles and triumphs. Knowing that she was helping others achieve their dreams filled her with immense pride. As word of the program spread, McKinsey & Associates gained recognition as a leader in sustainable development. News outlets praised Amelia's commitment to social responsibility, and industry experts hailed her as a visionary. Awards poured in, but none meant more to her than the gratitude expressed by the farmers she helped. "You've given us hope," one elderly farmer told her during a visit. "Hope that our way of life isn't disappearing." Despite her busy schedule, Amelia made time to return to Iowa whenever she could. Her parents, though proud of her accomplishments, remained grounded in their simple lifestyle. They still woke up early to tend to the animals and spent evenings watching the sunset over the fields. Amelia cherished these moments, finding comfort in the familiarity of home. During one visit, her mother pulled her aside and handed her a small wooden box. "Open it," her mother urged, smiling softly. Inside, Amelia found a delicate silver bracelet engraved with the words, "Stay rooted." Tears welled up in her eyes as she hugged her mother tightly. It was a reminder, a symbol of where she came from and the foundation that had shaped her. Back in Chicago, Amelia wore the bracelet every day, letting it serve as a silent anchor amid the chaos of corporate life. She often reflected on how far she had come, from a girl feeding chickens on a quiet farm to the chairwoman of a major financial firm. Each step of her journey had prepared her for this role, teaching her resilience, empathy, and the importance of staying true to herself. Yet, even as she celebrated her successes, Amelia understood that leadership was an ongoing process. She faced setbacks and criticism, moments when self-doubt crept in and tested her resolve. But each challenge only strengthened her determination to keep moving forward. She surrounded herself with mentors and allies who believed in her vision, leaning on their support when times got tough. One evening, as she sat alone in her office overlooking the city skyline, Amelia allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. The lights of Chicago twinkled like stars, a stark contrast to the quiet darkness of her childhood nights on the farm. Though her surroundings had changed dramatically, her core beliefs remained the same. Hard work, kindness, and perseverance were values she carried with her wherever she went. She picked up a framed photo on her desk, a picture of her family standing together in front of their farmhouse. Looking at their smiling faces, she felt a surge of gratitude. Without their sacrifices and unwavering support, none of this would have been possible. They had given her roots. Now it was her turn to give others wings. The road ahead wouldn't always be easy, but Amelia was ready. She had faced adversity before and emerged stronger because of it. As chairwoman of McKinsey & Associates, she vowed to continue breaking barriers, challenging stereotypes, and creating opportunities for those who dared to dream big. And though she stood at the pinnacle of success, she knew the best chapters of her story were yet to be written. Amelia's first year as chairwoman of McKinsey & Associates was a whirlwind of challenges and triumphs. She faced decisions that tested her leadership skills and forced her to grow in ways she hadn't anticipated. But with each hurdle, she adapted, learning to balance the demands of running a global company while staying true to her values. One of the biggest challenges came early on, when the company faced criticism from environmental groups. These organizations accused McKinsey & Associates of not doing enough to reduce its carbon footprint and support sustainable practices. At first, Amelia felt blindsided. After all, She had already launched several initiatives aimed at promoting sustainability, including the partnership with rural farmers. But she quickly realized that perception mattered as much as action. It wasn't enough to do good work if no one knew about it. Determined to address the issue head-on, Amelia assembled a task force made up of employees from different departments. Together, they reviewed the company's policies and identified areas for improvement. One idea stood out: creating a comprehensive plan to transition the firm toward renewable energy sources. It was an ambitious goal, requiring significant investment and long-term planning. But Amelia believed it was the right thing to do, not just for the environment, but for the future of the company. She presented the proposal to the board of directors, explaining how going green could benefit both the planet and their bottom line. "This isn't just about doing what's expected of us," she said during the meeting. "It's about setting an example for other companies to follow. If we lead with purpose, others will join us." The board agreed, and within months, McKinsey & Associates began installing solar panels on its buildings and partnering with clean energy providers. The move earned widespread praise, not only from environmental advocates but also from clients, who valued corporate responsibility. Amelia took every opportunity to highlight the company's progress, speaking at conferences and writing articles about the importance of sustainability in business. Her message resonated with audiences around the world, solidifying her reputation as a forward-thinking leader. But success didn't come without personal sacrifice. The long hours and constant travel left little time for rest or relaxation. Amelia often found herself missing meals or skipping sleep to meet deadlines. Friends and colleagues noticed the toll it was taking on her, urging her to slow down. "You can't pour from an empty cup," her assistant, Lisa, reminded her one afternoon. "Take care of yourself, or you won't be able to take care of anyone else." Reluctantly, Amelia began carving out time for self-care. She started taking short walks during lunch breaks, using the fresh air to clear her mind. On weekends, she visited yoga studios or spent quiet evenings reading books by authors whose stories inspired her. Slowly, she learned to recharge without feeling guilty, a lesson that made her more effective in her role. Despite the pressures of her job, Amelia never lost sight of her roots. She continued making regular trips to Iowa, finding solace in the simplicity of farm life. During one visit, her father pulled her aside and handed her a small notebook filled with handwritten notes. "These are ideas I've been jotting down," he explained with a grin. "Thought you might find them useful." Flipping through the pages, Amelia discovered sketches of innovative farming techniques and thoughts on improving efficiency. Her father's creativity amazed her, reminding her once again of the wisdom she had inherited from her family. Back in Chicago, Amelia shared some of these ideas with her team, incorporating them into ongoing projects. For instance, her father's suggestion to use drones for monitoring crop health inspired a new initiative to help farmers adopt advanced technology. The program proved so successful that it expanded to include training sessions and financial assistance for those interested in modernizing their operations. Farmers across the Midwest embraced the changes, crediting Amelia and her team for giving them tools to thrive in a competitive market. As word of her accomplishments spread, invitations poured in from universities, nonprofits, and government agencies eager to hear her speak. Amelia accepted many of these opportunities, using her platform to advocate for rural communities and underrepresented groups. In one memorable speech, she recounted her own journey, from being mocked at her job interview to becoming chairwoman, and urged listeners to believe in themselves even when others doubted them. "You don't have to come from privilege to achieve greatness," she told a packed auditorium at a women's leadership conference. "What matters is your willingness to work hard, stay humble, and keep pushing forward. Your background doesn't define you. Your actions do." Her words struck a chord with audiences, inspiring countless individuals to pursue their dreams. Despite obstacles, letters and emails flooded in from people sharing their stories and thanking her for her encouragement. Reading these messages filled Amelia with gratitude, reinforcing her belief that leadership was about more than profits. It was about making a difference. Still, not everyone supported her vision. Some executives within the company grumbled about the cost of sustainability initiatives, arguing that they detracted from shareholder value. Others questioned her focus on rural communities, suggesting she should prioritize urban markets instead. Amelia listened patiently to their concerns, but remained steadfast in her convictions. If we want to build a better future, we can't ignore the needs of those who feed us and sustain our economy, she told them firmly. Our success depends on lifting others up, not leaving them behind. Over time, even her critics began to see the benefits of her approach. The renewable energy projects saved money in the long run, while partnerships with farmers opened up new revenue streams. Clients appreciated the company's commitment to social responsibility, leading to increased loyalty and growth. By the end of her second year as chairwoman, Mackenzie & Associates was stronger than ever, with record-breaking profits and a reputation as a leader in ethical business practices. Yet Amelia knew there was still work to be done. She dreamed of expanding the company's reach, helping even more people break free from cycles of poverty and inequality. To achieve this, she launched a global initiative aimed at supporting entrepreneurs in developing countries. The program provided funding, mentorship, and resources to small businesses, empowering local leaders to create jobs and drive economic development. The project required extensive travel, taking Amelia to places she had never imagined visiting. From bustling cities in India to remote villages in Africa, she met with entrepreneurs eager to improve their communities. Their passion and resilience reminded her of her own journey, fueling her determination to help them succeed. Along the way, she formed lasting friendships and gained a deeper understanding of the challenges facing people around the world. Through it all, Amelia remained grounded, relying on the lessons she had learned growing up on the farm. Hard work, honesty, and kindness were principles she carried with her everywhere she went. Whether negotiating multi-million-dollar deals or chatting with a farmer over coffee, she treated everyone with respect and empathy. By the time her third year as chairwoman rolled around, Amelia had transformed Mackenzie & Associates into a beacon of hope and innovation. Employees looked to her as a role model, admiring her ability to balance ambition with compassion. Clients trusted her judgment, knowing she always put people first. And though she had achieved more than she ever thought possible, she refused to rest on her laurels. Instead, she set her sights on new horizons, dreaming of ways to further expand the company's impact. One evening, as she sat in her office reviewing plans for upcoming projects, she glanced at the framed photo of her family on her desk. Smiling softly, she whispered, "Thank you." They had given her the foundation she needed to soar, and now it was her turn to lift others higher. The road ahead would undoubtedly bring more challenges, but Amelia faced them with courage and optimism. She knew that true success wasn't measured by titles or wealth. It was about leaving the world better than she found it. And as she looked out at the glittering city skyline, she felt a deep sense of purpose. Her story wasn't just about personal achievement. It was about paving the way for others to follow. Amelia's fourth year as chairwoman of Mackenzie & Associates marked a turning point, not just for the company, but for her personally. By now, she had become a household name in business circles, celebrated for her innovative ideas and compassionate leadership. Yet, despite her achievements, she often found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought her here. How had a girl from a small Iowa farm risen to lead one of the most influential companies in the world? The answer, she realized, lay in the lessons she had learned along the way. One crisp autumn morning, Amelia received an email from a young woman named Emily, who worked at a struggling startup in Ohio. Emily explained that her company was trying to develop affordable technology to help farmers monitor soil health, but they lacked the funding and expertise to bring their idea to life. "I read about your story," Emily wrote, "and it gave me hope. If someone like you can succeed, maybe I can too." Touched by the message, Amelia arranged a meeting with Emily and her team. When they arrived at Mackenzie & Associates headquarters, Amelia greeted them warmly, making sure they felt comfortable despite the intimidating surroundings. Over coffee, Emily shared her vision, creating tools that would empower farmers to make smarter decisions about their land, ultimately improving yields and reducing waste. Amelia listened intently, nodding as Emily spoke. She saw echoes of her own dreams in the young entrepreneur's passion and determination. After the meeting, Amelia decided to take a risk. She offered Emily's team access to Mackenzie and Associates research facilities and connected them with experts who could guide their project. More importantly, she invested in their startup, providing the financial support they desperately needed. The decision paid off. Within months, Emily's team developed a groundbreaking device that used sensors to analyze soil conditions in real time. Farmers across the Midwest began adopting the technology, praising its simplicity and effectiveness. For Amelia, the experience reinforced her belief in the power of collaboration and mentorship. "Success isn't just about what you achieve for yourself," she told her staff during a team meeting. "It's about helping others achieve their goals too." As word of her generosity spread, more entrepreneurs reached out to Amelia, seeking advice or assistance. Some were students working on science projects, others were seasoned professionals hoping to pivot their careers. Regardless of their backgrounds, Amelia made time for each of them, offering guidance based on her own experiences. She encouraged them to embrace failure as part of the learning process and reminded them that resilience was key to overcoming obstacles. Her efforts didn't go unnoticed. Publications hailed her as a champion of innovation, while social media buzzed with stories of people whose lives she had touched. One viral post featured a photo of Amelia standing alongside Emily at a farming expo, both women smiling proudly as they demonstrated the soil monitoring device. The caption read, "From farm fields to boardrooms, this is what true leadership looks like." Despite her growing fame, Amelia remained humble. She avoided flashy events and preferred to spend her free time quietly, either reading books or visiting her parents in Iowa. During one such trip, her mother pulled her aside after dinner and handed her a worn leather journal. "This belonged to your grandmother," she said softly. "She always dreamed of writing down her thoughts, but life got in the way. I think you should have it now." Amelia opened the journal carefully, marveling at the delicate handwriting inside. Her grandmother had filled the pages with reflections on life, love, and faith, interspersed with sketches of flowers and animals. As she flipped through the entries, Amelia felt a deep connection to the woman she had never met. It was as if her grandmother's words were speaking directly to her, urging her to stay grounded and cherish the moments that mattered most. Inspired by the journal, Amelia began keeping one of her own. Each night before bed, she jotted down her thoughts, documenting both her successes and struggles. Writing became a form of therapy, allowing her to process emotions she rarely showed to others. In one entry, she reflected on the weight of responsibility she carried as chairwoman. "Sometimes I wonder if I'm doing enough," she wrote. "But then I remember why I started this journey, to honor my family and make a difference. As long as I keep moving forward, I know I'll be okay." Her resolve was tested later that year when Mackenzie and Associates faced a major crisis. A cybersecurity breach exposed sensitive client data, shaking trust in the company. News outlets pounced on the story, painting Amelia as someone who had let her guard down. Critics questioned whether she was capable of leading such a large organization, suggesting she step aside until the issue was resolved. For the first time in years, Amelia doubted herself. Sitting alone in her office late one evening, she replayed the criticism in her mind, wondering if she had made a mistake. But then she remembered something her father used to say. "When storms come, don't run from them. Face them head on, and you'll find strength you didn't know you had." Determined to restore confidence, Amelia took immediate action. She hired top cybersecurity experts to investigate the breach and implement stronger safeguards. She also held a press conference, taking full responsibility for the incident and outlining steps the company would take to prevent future occurrences. "Mistakes happen," she admitted candidly. "What matters is how we respond to them. Promise you we will do better." Her honesty won over many skeptics. Clients appreciated her transparency, and employees rallied around her, working tirelessly to rebuild trust. Within weeks, Mackenzie and Associates regained its footing, emerging stronger than ever. Looking back, Amelia realized the crisis had taught her an invaluable lesson. Vulnerability wasn't a weakness, it was a source of strength. By the end of the year, Amelia's focus shifted toward giving back. She established a foundation dedicated to supporting rural communities and underrepresented groups. Named after her grandmother, the foundation funded scholarships, provided grants to small businesses, and organized workshops to teach essential skills like financial literacy and leadership. Amelia traveled extensively to promote the initiative, meeting with beneficiaries and listening to their stories. During one visit to a Native American reservation in South Dakota, she met a teenager named Jacob, who dreamed of becoming an engineer. His school lacked resources, and he often studied by candlelight because his family couldn't afford electricity. Moved by his determination, Amelia promised to help. Within weeks, the foundation installed solar panels at Jacob's home and donated computers to his school. When she returned months later, Jacob proudly showed her the robotics project he had built using the new equipment. "You've changed my life," he told her, tears shining in his eyes. "Thank you." Moments like these reminded Amelia why she had chosen this path. Success wasn't about accolades or wealth, it was about making a tangible impact. Whether it was mentoring young entrepreneurs, investing in sustainable technologies, or supporting underserved communities, she approached every endeavor with purpose and heart. Still, there were moments when the demands of her role threatened to overwhelm her. Long hours and constant travel left little time for rest, and the pressure to perform weighed heavily on her shoulders. Friends and colleagues urged her to delegate more tasks and prioritize self-care, but Amelia struggled to let go. "If I don't do it, who will?" she often asked herself. It wasn't until a close friend staged an intervention that Amelia finally acknowledged the need for balance. "You're human, not a machine," her friend said firmly. "Taking breaks doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're smart enough to protect your energy so you can keep doing great things." Reluctantly, Amelia agreed to slow down, scheduling regular vacations and setting boundaries around her work schedule. The change proved transformative. With renewed energy, she tackled challenges with fresh perspective and creativity. She also reconnected with old hobbies, rediscovering the joy of painting and gardening. On weekends, she invited friends over for dinner parties, filling her home with laughter and warmth. For the first time in years, she felt truly present, not just in her career but in her personal life as well. As she looked ahead to the future, Amelia knew there was still much to accomplish. She dreamed of expanding the foundation's reach, helping even more people break free from cycles of poverty and inequality. She envisioned a world where everyone, regardless of background, had access to opportunities and resources to thrive. But, for now, she chose to savor the moment. Standing on the balcony of her Chicago apartment one evening, she gazed out at the city skyline, lights twinkling like stars against the dark sky. In her hand, she clutched the silver bracelet her mother had given her, a reminder of where she came from and the values that guided her. Smiling softly, she whispered, "We've come so far." And indeed they had. From a quiet farm in Iowa to the heights of corporate success, Amelia's journey was nothing short of extraordinary. Yet she knew the best chapters of her story were yet to be written. With courage, compassion, and unwavering determination, she was ready to face whatever lay ahead. Amelia's 5th year as chairwoman of Mackenzie & Associates brought both triumphs and challenges, but it also marked a time of profound reflection. By now, she had become a symbol of hope and resilience, not just within the company, but across industries. Her story inspired countless people to believe in themselves and their ability to overcome adversity. Yet, despite her many accomplishments, Amelia often found herself thinking about legacy. What kind of mark did she want to leave on the world? How could she ensure that her efforts would continue long after she was gone? One chilly winter morning, Amelia received a letter from an elderly farmer named Harold, who lived in a small town in Nebraska. He wrote to thank her for the impact Mackenzie & Associates had made on his community through its sustainable farming initiatives. "You've given us more than tools or money," Harold said in the letter. "You've reminded us that we matter, that our work matters." The words struck a deep chord in Amelia, bringing tears to her eyes. She realized that true success wasn't measured by profits or titles. It was about touching lives and creating lasting change. Inspired by Harold's message, Amelia decided to take a step back from day-to-day operations at the company and focus on shaping its future direction. She called a meeting with her leadership team to discuss ways they could deepen their commitment to underserved communities. "We've done a lot of good so far," she told them, "but there's still so much more we can do. Let's think bigger, bolder. How can we build systems that empower people to thrive independently?" The brainstorming session led to several groundbreaking ideas. One initiative focused on creating educational programs for children in rural areas, teaching them skills like coding, robotics, and entrepreneurship. Another aimed to provide affordable healthcare services to farmers and their families, addressing a critical need that had been overlooked for too long. Amelia threw her full support behind these projects, knowing they had the potential to transform entire communities. As the initiatives gained momentum, Amelia traveled extensively to oversee their implementation. She visited schools where kids eagerly experimented with robots, their faces lighting up with excitement. She met with doctors and nurses setting up mobile clinics in remote villages, ensuring that even the most isolated families received care. Each interaction reinforced her belief in the power of collective effort. "We're stronger together," she often said during speeches. "When we lift each other up, everyone wins." Her dedication earned her international recognition. Invitations poured in from organizations around the world, asking her to share her insights at conferences and summits. In one memorable appearance, at a global forum in Switzerland, Amelia delivered a speech that captivated the audience. Standing on stage, she spoke passionately about the importance of empathy in leadership. "Success isn't just about achieving goals," she said. "It's about understanding the struggles of others and finding ways to help them succeed too. If we lead with kindness and purpose, we can create a better world for everyone." Her words resonated deeply, sparking conversations that extended far beyond the event. Leaders from different sectors reached out to collaborate with Mackenzie and associates, eager to learn from Amelia's approach. Some sought advice on launching similar initiatives. Others simply wanted to express their admiration. Through it all, Amelia remained humble, deflecting praise onto her team and the communities they served. "I'm just one person," she often said. "The real heroes are those working tirelessly every day to make life better for others." Despite her growing influence, Amelia never lost sight of her roots. She continued making regular trips to Iowa, finding comfort in the simplicity of farm life. During one visit, her father handed her a stack of old photographs. "Thought you might like to see these," he said with a smile. Flipping through the images, Amelia saw snapshots of her childhood, feeding chickens, playing in the fields, laughing with her parents. Each photo was a reminder of where she had come from and the values that shaped her. Back in Chicago, Amelia displayed the photos prominently in her office, using them as a source of inspiration during tough days. They reminded her that no matter how high she climbed, she was still the same girl who had grown up tending to crops and dreaming of something greater. That connection to her past kept her grounded, helping her navigate the complexities of her role with grace and authenticity. By the end of her 6th year as chairwoman, Amelia began thinking seriously about the next phase of her career. Though she loved leading Mackenzie and Associates, she felt it was time to pass the torch to someone new, someone who could carry the company forward while staying true to its mission. After careful consideration, she chose Sarah Bennett, a trusted colleague known for her innovative thinking and compassionate leadership. "Sarah embodies everything this company stands for," Amelia announced during a company-wide meeting. "I have no doubt she'll lead us into an exciting future." The transition was smooth thanks to Amelia's meticulous planning and Sarah's readiness to take on the role. On her final day as chairwoman, Amelia gathered her team for a farewell luncheon. As they shared stories and laughter, she reflected on how far they had come together. "This company has been my home for years," she said, raising a glass. "But homes aren't defined by buildings. They're defined by the people inside them. Thank you for being my family." After stepping down, Amelia devoted herself fully to the foundation she had established in her grandmother's name. Under her guidance, the organization expanded rapidly, reaching communities in over 50 countries. It provided scholarships to young students, funded startups led by women and minorities, and organized workshops on topics ranging from financial literacy to mental health. Amelia traveled the globe, meeting beneficiaries and listening to their stories. Every success story fueled her passion, reminding her why she had started this journey in the first place. One evening, as she sat on the porch of her farmhouse in Iowa, Amelia looked out at the golden fields stretching toward the horizon. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm glow over the landscape. Beside her sat her mother, knitting quietly as they enjoyed the peaceful moment. "Do you ever wonder what might have happened if you hadn't left the farm?" her mother asked gently. Amelia smiled, shaking her head. "No, I don't wonder," she replied. "Because everything I've done, the highs, the lows, the challenges, it all led me here, to this moment, to this life, and I wouldn't trade it for anything." Her mother nodded, smiling softly. "Your father and I always knew you were destined for greatness. We just didn't realize how big your heart would be along the way." Tears welled up in Amelia's eyes as she hugged her mother tightly. She thought about the journey that had brought her here, from a girl mocked at her job interview to a woman celebrated as a leader and changemaker. It hadn't been easy, but every obstacle had taught her something valuable. Hard work, resilience, humility, and empathy had guided her steps, turning setbacks into stepping stones. As night fell, Amelia stepped inside and picked up the journal her grandmother had given her years ago. Opening it to a blank page, she began writing. "To anyone reading this," she wrote, "remember that your background doesn't define you. Your actions do. You don't have to come from privilege to achieve greatness. All you need is courage, determination, and a willingness to help others along the way. Stay rooted in your values, and let your dreams guide you." Closing the journal, Amelia placed it on the shelf beside the framed photo of her family. For the first time in years, she felt a sense of peace, a quiet certainty that she had fulfilled her purpose. The road ahead would undoubtedly bring new adventures, but for now she was content to rest and reflect on the beautiful tapestry of her life. And so, Amelia Carter's story continued, not as a tale of personal achievement, but as a testament to the power of perseverance, compassion, and unwavering faith in the goodness of humanity. Her legacy lived on in the lives she had touched, the communities she had uplifted, and the countless others who would follow in her footsteps.